Decay. So lately, Barack Obama has been giving interviews about America in recent times, and he talks about truth decay, and there is some merit to what he is saying. That isn't the only reason Trump got elected, of course, but it's part of it. And it really didn't start with Trump, did it? Truth decay, when it comes to, questioning the legitimacy of a person's presidency, I think actually started all the way back in the year 2000 with George W. Bush, right? He won so narrowly that election that it actually went into the Supreme Court in order for them to figure out, who the winner was. And the Supreme Court ruled, of course, that it was George W. Bush. And Al Gore said he disagreed with that decision, but he accepted it. That's how somebody with integrity actually handles themselves in defeat, by the way. But the point is that in that election, or shortly after, there were a lot of conspiracy theories out there sort of questioning Bush's legitimacy. Michael Moore's Fahrenheit 9/11 even called attention to one of George W. Bush's relatives being in charge of one of the media sources that called the election in Bush's favor. Right? So I would argue that that's when truth decay really started. It really only got worse from there, during Obama's administration, actually before he even became president, with the Hillary campaign. She actually put out a little thing with Obama wearing some, Middle Eastern looking robes or whatever, and that eventually got sparked into some conspiracy theories by right-wingers, namely Donald Trump, that Obama was born in Kenya, and that he was a Muslim and all this and all of that, basically questioning Obama's legitimacy to even be the president. And of course, in 2016, after Trump won the election, it was all just Russia, 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 Russia. Right? That's all we heard. Russia, Russia, Russia. There was some interference by Russia. There has been evidence that they put bots in the what have you. That there's in the social media, and the bots were trying to sow discord among a lot of Americans. Some of the bots were in favor of Trump, some of them were in favor of Bernie, and I think maybe a few of them were in favor of Hillary, maybe not, I don't know. I think what they're trying to do, the conspiracy theory of that is that the Russians wanted Trump to win because he wouldn't be as harsh on them in Syria. Hillary wanted to put a no-fly zone in Syria for Russia, and Trump wasn't going to do that, and these other types of things. And the conspiracy theory behind that is that Trump was in on it, that Trump was involved in it, that Trump was talking to Putin and something like that. And now, of course, we see with Joe Biden the winner, a lot of the Trump voters are like, no, Biden didn't win. All the votes that went to Biden were illegal, and because they were illegal, Trump won. And you see all these people still chanting and praying in hopes for a victory for Donald Trump, even after the election has been called. Even though the laws in these states say that they have to count the mail-in votes after the in-person votes. That's what the law actually says in those states. So they didn't break the law by counting the votes later. The Red Mirage, people were talking about it before the election day, and they were saying exactly why the Red Mirage was going to happen. Easy voting means more Democrats vote. And when more Democrats vote, Republicans don't usually have a chance, because the majority of this country actually is left-leaning, believe it or not. But truth decay goes further than just questioning the president's legitimacy to be, the president, but also based on the type of narrative-driven news that people consume. Right? It's kind of a postmodern type of world that we're living in at the moment. Postmodernist with regards to where people get their news from, even, which is actually not very good. Postmodernism means that there are no objective facts and that everything is narrative-driven. Well, I'm sorry, but there are objective facts sometimes, right? 2 + 2 = 4. Is that narrative-driven? No, you can put 2 rocks on the ground, you can put 2 more on the ground, you can count them and it equals 4. There are objective truths in this world. And that's not a narrative-driven, beyond the narrative of it being fact-based, of it being actual reality that can be tested and proven. Right? And I'm not saying that the mainstream media is completely innocent, but they're a lot more innocent than things like Newsmax and OANN, and at the very least the commentary shows on Fox, although the news bits of Fox themselves have also been caught kind of, spinning things in a narrative. Like when Jim Carrey on Bill Maher's show said that they wanted socialism, they should run with the word socialism. He was referring to Canada's healthcare system, but Fox News didn't show that part. And CNN has been caught saying, asking, after a school shooting happened, they went to the students and asked close-ended questions, and to try to get the students to answer in a certain way to basically say, yeah, gun control would have prevented this, right? That wouldn't even be allowed in the court of law. The lawyers have to answer open-ended questions in the court of law, but apparently CNN journalists don't, right? So, Fox and CNN, they're both pretty guilty of not being completely objective and unbiased there. But I would take Fox News over OANN any day, because at the very least they have some level of credibility. They actually called the election for Biden because he actually won, right? And of course, all of the OANN and Newsmax viewers are saying Fox News sucks now, and they're liberal because they're not sycophantic towards Donald Trump, right? This is truth decay, and I think it's only going to get worse in the future. People getting their news now from YouTube videos instead of from newspapers, right? People think that an idiot sitting in front of a camera, like me, is somehow just as credible as newspapers and journalists with actual credentials in journalism, right? People need to be taught how to discern fact from bullshit, and that's something that our schools just don't do, right? I mean, people out there actually think that hydrogel is nanobots, when it's really just microplastics that have existed for 100 years that absorb water, and it's used in face cream, right? That is truth decay. So, I don't know. Empires only tend to last for about 250 to 300 years, and America's about that old, so welcome to the collapse of America, everybody. It's only going to get worse, and I fear for what might happen in the future. People seem to be pushing for more authoritarianism on both sides, really. The right-wingers are pushing for more authoritarianism in culture, and the left-wingers are pushing for more authoritarianism in economics and in social justice and stuff like that. And it's just going to get crazy and worse. I hope we can avoid any kind of violence that might be coming. But I don't know. I don't have much faith in the people of this country anymore. We were a country that went to the moon, and now we're a country that says we can't tackle climate change or a pandemic. So we might as well just let it happen. Alright, that's the America that we're living in today. So peace.